This video is brought to you by you guys. Thank you so much to all the channel members. Your support has been amazing. We've got tons of cool perks available, so if you want to check them out, click the join button or the top link in the description. Thanks, and enjoy the video. Hey, what's going on, you guys? My name is the Raptor, and next time on Death Battle, we have the Fire Master Ninjago versus the Fire Toa of Biological Chronicle. And I gotta be honest, I think this matchup is gonna take the cake for the most out of left field, unexpected episode that we get all year. However, like a lot of other people, that doesn't stop me from being excited for it because I am looking forward to it. I love Lego. I collected so much Lego when I was a kid. I still have some of my major sets on the shelf over there. And I did also collect some Bionicle. I think most of it got donated, but I still have this one. This is the Rakshi of Heat Vision, because that's the kind of shit I need to know now. But yes, I am very excited to see how both sides of this Lego equation are being looked at here, even if this wasn't the matchup that I was expecting, let alone the Bionicle versus Ninjago matchup that I was expecting to happen. I don't know if we can say for sure yet that this is going to be a stop motion animation, or if it's more so going to be animated to look like one, kind of, something like that. Although by the time you're watching this, maybe it's been confirmed one way or the other. Definitely not at the moment that I'm recording this, I'm pretty sure. But if it was like a solid, literal stop motion animation and they could do it well, holy shit, that would be amazing. Either way, I am just very excited to see how Death Battle presents and analyzes everything here. Now, with one of these characters being more niche than the other these days, at least in regards to lore and story and such, I've tried to get the best handle on both of these worlds and the scaling within them that I possibly can. I think one of the things that I can say with most certainty is that a comparison of these combatants' base forms heavily favors Kai, physically speaking. The best you can stretch the scaling of an above average normal Toa like Tahu, in my opinion, is downscaling a bit from characters like Brutaka and Axon, who can supposedly level mountains. However, this doesn't include Tahu's Nova Blast, which can expel all of his stored elemental energy in one go, naturally being many times greater, but draining him of his energy. Ninjago characters, on the other hand, have grown to a point where some of their powers can reach across the planet, even at a lower level at least, and there are absolutely higher base estimates as well, so not really much of a competition there. And speed at best would be around even for each other, if not Kai also getting the edge over that, since he has, in my opinion, capabilities that more reliably put him in that solid, faster than light or higher range. However, this is far from the full story, as each of these characters' arsenals and super states are pretty damn insane and can give both of them a plethora of specific advantages. And yes, I'll be operating under the philosophy of what can be included will be included, since that seems to be the safest fallback these days. If that doesn't end up being true, well, hopefully Death Battle will still include similar amounts of stuff on both sides, so my verdict doesn't change all that much. As far as innate abilities, Tahu can control, absorb, and generate fire, has decent healing abilities and mental resistances, and if he's ever fatally injured, his body and soul will be teleported to the Red Star to be repaired and sent back, assuming that the return function actually still works here. If you know, you know. He's also an absurd many times older than Kai, although definitely wasn't fighting or training that entire time, but still. And all of this is before considering his various masks and armor. His primary personal mask allows him to create nigh impenetrable shielding, but at least at some points he was also able to access the 5 other primary masks' abilities, giving him powers of levitation, water breathing, x-ray vision, and extra strength and speed. Only one mask's ability can be used at a time, but he can switch between them whenever he wants. If we assume all the other masks will be used here too, that also adds invisibility, telekinesis, language translation, night vision, creating illusions, controlling minds, and slowing down, speeding up, or briefly stopping time within the area. And along with Tahu's standard fire and magma swords, he has 2 notable sets of armor. The adaptive armor, which adapts to various situations to the point where it even once granted him an energy gun, which is cool as hell, and the golden armor, which not only skyrockets his power, but also grants him all the abilities of the Krata/Rakshi. This includes Even more stat boosts, more mental control, even better healing, limited invulnerability, heat vision, gravity control, teleportation, lightning generation, molecular manipulation, disintegration, magnetism, plasma and poison projection, weather manipulation, and even more. I had to consult my notes for this one, I'm sorry. So I'll be honest guys, this is a lot. If we're looking at the sum total of everything Tahu has, it looks like he can get the drop on Kai easily in a number of different ways. But there are some important things to note on Kai's end too. He has ways to boost his own stats similarly to Tahu, and while he may not have as thorough resistances to fire or heat, he can still power through harsh enough conditions. More importantly though, if we're including the golden armor for Tahu, there's a lot of extra stuff on the table for Kai. His Technoblade and Aeroblade, for example, can mess with technology and interact with incorporeal beings respectively, which should ultimately eventually counter Tahu's respawning, even assuming that lets him continue the fight fast enough after enough damage, or that he can be repaired from being completely destroyed. And through Kai's personal training, or super forms like Draconis, Golden, etc., he's able to pretty well resist his mind getting corrupted and his matter getting meddled with, which honestly counters most of the ways Tahu would be able to actually beat him. Hell, if he's given the Time Reversal Blade or Staff of Elements, which he very well could be, he can also mess with time to some degree, use a lot of his buddies' powers, and may even be able to steal much of Tahu's power, given the interpretation. Combined with the fact that a lot of Tahu's crazier abilities can only be used one at a time, and he's barely gotten any confirmed experience actually using them in combat, and Kai's adapted to some of these abilities before, means Kai's own skill and abilities can take him far. Does he have a perfect counter for everything Tahu has? Probably not. It's going to be a challenge for him either way, but he can defend against enough that Tahu's crazy abilities alone probably don't make it a done deal either. Especially since, while this could technically be more up in the air than their base power levels, their even higher states in scaling don't actually look to make things much better for Tahu. The golden armor puts him much closer to the top of his universe, definitely around or above the likes of Makuta, Tuyet, Pterodax, Nocturne, etc. But as far as I can tell, the absolute highest power that you could possibly stretch this out to, this might not even be fair, I just gotta bring it up, is saying he could compare to the Great Spirit Robot, only shown to be able to take out planets. Now, to be fair, the Great Spirit Robot itself is roughly the size of Earth, and the planets it's dealing with are still eclipsing it in size, making these feats an insane degree more impressive than you might initially think. And a prominent Bionicle writer even claimed that the Great Spirit Robot should be able to destroy stars, if you buy into that, and who knows how big the stars would be on this crazy scale. But high tier Ninjago levels simply reach a more overt brand of bullshit. The golden weapons alone, like Kai's Sword of Fire, quite possibly each possess 1/4 of the power needed to create entire realms, since they were used to do just that, while the super forms at this point straight up surpass realm-threatening entities and would downscale from Lloyd Garmadon, who now draws from the power that was used to keep the merge of all the realms at bay. And while the realms often refer to the planets the characters travel to, the 17 realms themselves are still infinite in size, unlike the Matoran universe within Bionicle, which is finite because it's contained within the planet-sized Great Spirit Robot. Even if Tahu could blow up mega-sized stars by pulling on every string possible here, Kai just benefits a lot more from his highest estimates, and should be strong enough to break through any of Tahu's defenses, withstand his Nova Blast, and kill him before he can adapt properly. So even after looking as best as I could, the ceiling for Tahu's potential stat scaling still doesn't look to come close to where Kai would realistically have to be, and while Tahu's arsenal is busted if we give him everything, Kai still has the means to fight back against much of it if we give him similar arsenal access. To say that Tahu definitely has no win cons is very disingenuous, but to me at least, Kai's win cons are more concrete concrete, more straightforward, and easier to pull off with generally better stats and skill. Bionicle's got some crazy and extensive material for sure, but to be honest, so does Ninjago at this point. That actually seems to be more helpful from a power scaling perspective. Maybe Death Battle can find what I can't, that's always possible, but until then, Spinjitzu gets my vote. But I want to hear what you guys have to say. Who do you think is going to win? Are you excited? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this prediction, please give it a like and subscribe if you could too. That would be amazing. That would really help the channel out. And of course, thank you all so much to the channel members. You guys are the absolute best. But thank you for watching, and that's it for me. Hope to see you in the next one. Peace out.